Your metabolism still thinks you're chasing mammoths, not shopping at Costco. That's why carbs wreak havoc on your blood sugar. Today, I'll show you why your body runs best on fat and how modern diets broke ancient programming. Hey everyone, my name is Mark Bates. I'm a metabolic health coach, and this video is on metabolic evolution, optimizing human nutrition. We're going to talk about how your metabolism is still adapted to essentially being a hunter-gatherer despite 60 plus years of shopping at Costco. I don't know how many years we've been shopping at Costco. So let's get into it. Why your metabolism still thinks you're hunting. 13,000 years ago sounds like forever until you realize humans evolved for millions of years before agricultural existed. Your liver doesn't know about grocery stores. It operates on ancient programming, producing glucose with the efficiency of a predator that might not eat for days. This metabolic reality challenges everything mainstream nutrition teaches about carbohydrate requirements. The evidence suggests most humans need zero dietary carbohydrates to thrive. So let's talk about this timeline. Human exposure to significant carbohydrates began roughly 13,000 years ago with agriculture. Before that, staple isotope analysis reveals our ancestors consumed diets remarkably similar to modern hypercarnivores. Neanderthal research shows they obtained all or most of their dietary protein from large herbivores for over 120,000 years across different European regions. Recent studies place ancient hominids at the top of the food web, together with or above hypercarnivores such as lions and wolves. Oh my! Okay, this wasn't occasional meat consumption. This was systematic hypercarnivory spanning hundreds of thousands of years. 13,000 years represents roughly 650 human generations. Evolution typically requires thousands of generations to create meaningful metabolic adaptations. The timeline alone suggests incomplete adaptation to carbohydrate-rich diets. So let's look at your hypercarnivore metabolism. Humans retain gluconeogenic efficiency comparable to obligate carnivores. This means your liver produces glucose from protein and fat with remarkable precision. True carbohydrate-adapted species show reduced gluconeogenic capacity because they obtain glucose directly from food. They face negative selection pressure against excess glucose production. Humans show the opposite pattern. Even people consuming standard high carbohydrate diets maintain enzyme ratios similar to hypercarnivores. Your liver continuously produces 16 to 22 grams of glucose daily from glycerol alone. It recycles lactate back into glucose through the Cori cycle. It converts amino acids into glucose on demand. This metabolic machinery operates efficiently without dietary carbohydrates. Research on hypercarnivorous mammals shows a significant portion of protein must be diverted into gluconeogenesis to supply the brain as a normal metabolic state. If humans had adapted to carbohydrate dependence, this efficiency would have diminished through evolutionary pressure. And then we have this type 2 diabetes issue, which is a paradox. The type 2 diabetes represent a revealing metabolic puzzle. Despite elevated blood glucose and insulin levels, their livers continue producing glucose at high rates. This seems counterintuitive until viewed through evolutionary biology. The liver's glucose production represents an ancient survival mechanism designed for food scarcity. For millions of years, maintaining glucose availability during fasting meant survival. The liver evolved as a reliable glucose provider regardless of external conditions. Modern constant food availability creates a mismatch. The liver maintains its evolutionary programming while facing unprecedented dietary glucose loads. This persistent glucose production combined with dietary carbohydrates creates the metabolic chaos underlying type 2 diabetes. We also have a limited storage for glucose, and this reveals our true adaptation. Human glycogen storage capacity tells a clear story. Skeletal muscles store roughly 400 grams. The liver stores approximately 100 grams. These limited reserves indicate humans who aren't adapted to rely heavily on carbohydrates as a primary fuel. True carbohydrate adapted species maintain much larger glycogen buffering capacity. The exponential increase in carbohydrate consumption occurred primarily during industrialization, not agriculture. This recent dietary shift further challenges adaptation arguments. Most mammals, including herbivores, derive primary energy from fats rather than carbohydrates. Research demonstrates that volatile fatty acids from fermentation contribute approximately 70% to the caloric requirements of ruminants. Okay? Even plant-eating animals rely predominantly on fat metabolism for energy. And there's also individual variation within our evolutionary framework. Some individuals may require minimal carbohydrates, typically around 20 grams, to maintain optimal function. This variation likely reflects slight gluconeogenic inefficiencies developed over agricultural generations. Distinguishing genuine metabolic need from temporary adaptation symptoms requires systematic experimentation. Most transition difficulties resolve within weeks as gluconeogenic pathways optimize. Before adding carbohydrates, addressing protein intake and electrolyte balance often resolves apparent metabolic issues. These interventions target the actual physiological needs rather than assumed carbohydrate requirements. For individuals who genuinely benefit from small carbohydrate amounts, periodic consumption proves more effective than daily intake. Weekly or monthly consumption of 20 to 50 grams provides metabolic support without disrupting fat adaptation. So for example, you might choose one day a month where you eat carbs and you don't eat fat and protein. Okay? Pig out on some fruit for one day a month. This approach avoids continuous insulin stimulation while maintaining the benefits of ketogenic metabolism. The fat burning default though. Continuous low carbohydrate intake leads to keto adaptation, where the body efficiently produces and utilizes ketones for energy. This metabolic state reduces glucose requirements while optimizing fat oxidation. Daily carbohydrate consumption maintains glucose dependency, frequent insulin release, and reduced fat burning capacity. This metabolic inflexibility contributes to modern chronic diseases. The carnivore connection hypothesis proposes that insulin resistance, providing a survival and reproductive advantage during ice ages when large quantities of cereals first entered human diets only recently, right? So since we've only had grains recently, your body has not adapted to it, okay? Insulin resistance represents an adaptive response to low carbohydrate intake, not a pathological condition requiring carbohydrate intervention. And we always get back to, how about scientific rigor over ideology? Maintaining scientific integrity requires demanding reproducible evidence. Big thing, reproducible evidence across multiple studies and populations. Single studies with confounding variables cannot overturn well-established evolutionary and biochemical principles. Human metabolic complexity means individual responses vary based on genetics, environment, and lifestyle factors. This variability prevents uniform dietary conclusions while supporting personalized approaches. Evolutionary biology provides foundational understanding of human metabolic capabilities without excluding individual variation or adaptation possibilities. It guides hypotheses about optimal human diets while remaining open to refinement. Critical evaluation of research methodologies, sample sizes, and statistical methods remains essential for assessing conflicting data. Observational studies lacking proper controls require particular caution in nutrition science, and that's the vast majority of the studies that most people quote. Integrating insights from biochemistry, paleoanthropology, comparative anatomy, and clinical experience creates comprehensive understanding. Converging evidence from multiple disciplines strengthens conclusions beyond single data points. So there is a practical implementation here. Trial and error approaches in clinical contexts test hypotheses about individual carbohydrate tolerance and metabolic health. This experimentation respects both evolutionary principles and individual complexity. Remember, we are all individuals here, and there will be differences. Each person, you will not be the same as everyone else in your family. Okay? Everyone's going to be a little bit different here. Most individuals thrive on zero dietary carbohydrates, relying on efficient gluconeogenesis for glucose-dependent tissues. The brain adapts to utilize ketones, further reducing glucose requirements. For the minority requiring a small amount of carbohydrates, periodic consumption provides metabolic support without disrupting ketogenic adaptation. This approach minimizes insulin spikes while maintaining metabolic flexibility. The evolutionary framework suggests humans are metabolically closer to hypercarnivores than carbohydrate-dependent species. This understanding challenges conventional dietary recommendations while supporting evidence-based personalization. Your metabolism operates on ancient programming optimized for survival during food scarcity. Understanding this evolutionary legacy provides the foundation for optimal modern nutrition strategies. The evidence points toward minimal carbohydrate requirements for most humans, with individual experimentation determining personal optimization within this evolutionary framework. So, well, I thank you all for watching if you've gotten this far. If you're interested in more, look in the description for a link to my group health coaching program. It's only $10 a month. We do a lot more detailed work here. It's opening up starting October 1st of this year. Think about it. Also, if you have any comments or questions, put it in the appropriate section here. And we are building a community here. If there are things that I've not covered for you that you want me to look into, add a comment. I always love doing videos for people to help them get what they're looking for. And as always, if you haven't done so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. All right, it helps the channel a great deal. So thank you for that, and you're going to help a lot of other people. Have a great day.